The debate over gun control intensifying this weekend, with gun safety activists not backing down, even as lawmakers are continuing their August recess. The groups Everytown for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action holding rallies in all 50 states, very clearly warning lawmakers if they do not take action on guns, they'll be voted out. This as authorities arrested a man in Ohio on Friday, this man on your screen, after he posted a video on social media that showed him firing a gun and referencing a local Jewish community center. This man reportedly had multiple semi-automatic weapons and body armor in the privacy of his own home. And across America, the fear is still there. A new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll finds that 55% of Americans are worried that the United States will experience another mass shooting or a white nationalist attack. The president's answer to all of this?
That they have bipartisan committees working on background checks and various other things, and we'll see. I don't want people to forget that this is a mental health problem. I don't want them to forget that, because it is. It's a mental health problem.
Navy veteran and New Jersey Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill back with me. Congresswoman, you certainly know all about this. You know more than civilians like me. In a recent op-ed in USA Today that you wrote with Colorado Congressman Jason Crow, who served in the Army, you're now calling for an assault weapon ban. Why is that? Because in the past, we couldn't even get background checks done.
Well, we still haven't gotten background checks done, Stephanie. So while I am calling for an assault weapons ban, because Jason Crow, a former Army Ranger, and I'm a former Navy helicopter pilot, we both know that assault weapons are weapons of war. They're designed to kill as many people in as short a time as possible. We've also heard from people throughout our communities, parents and grandparents, saying the very first thing my daughter or son or grandson or granddaughter did when she or he went to kindergarten was to do a gun safety drill. And that's not what we want to see in our schools. We can't live with this level of violence. However, the very first thing that has to happen is we have to start seeing the Senate passing some of these bills. Almost 200 days ago, the House passed a universal background checks bill. You mentioned a poll recently that 55% of Americans are afraid we're going to see another gun attack. That same poll said that 90% of Americans want to see a universal background checks bill. It is past time the Senate move forward on this and pass that critical piece of gun safety legislation.
Then take me to Capitol Hill. Why isn't that happening? If we're seeing a lion's share of actual NRA members saying, we could do something on background checks. If there are people who are part of gun culture who think we need to do something, where's the stop?
Stephanie, I don't know. My own father was a lifetime member of the NRA. He recently gave up his membership because he's so disgusted at the fact that we can't pass gun safety legislation, that it's no longer just a sportsman group, that it's just a gun manufacturing lobby group that is withholding some of the good legislation that we need to pass. Why we can't move forward on that, why the Senate isn't moving forward on that, I do not know.
When the president says this is a mental health issue, or he says we have all sorts of background checks, what do you say to that?
You know, Stephanie, this is something that's been going on in this country for decades in our urban areas. As a federal prosecutor, I was working on getting guns off the street in Patterson and Newark. I saw how it devastated families in those towns. Now we see mass shootings almost monthly, sometimes bi-monthly. You know what? It doesn't matter to me, as a mother, if it's a mental health issue or not. What matters to me is we start to get these guns out of the hands of people that are committing these crimes.
I want to share with you what we've heard, maybe not from voters, but from very important Americans about what they care about from our potential next president and around gun safety. Take a look.
One of the reasons we're homeschooled is that my mom thinks that it's not safe for children to be in public schools because of the shootings. And I want to know what you plan to do about the shootings.
That's a child pressing Cory Booker on gun safety. Do lawmakers not hear these concerns across America? These are little kids who are saying, I'm homeschooled because my mom is afraid. We're seeing bulletproof backpack sales skyrocket.
You know, I can tell you one lawmaker who understands this is Cory Booker, because he was the mayor of Newark when I was working at the U.S. Attorney's Office there. So we know how critical gun safety legislation is. Why Mitch McConnell will not allow that legislation on the floor, why the Senate won't vote to pass these critical pieces of legislation is really beyond me.
If the president decides to pivot and actually do something on gun safety, if Mitch McConnell does, it would be a tremendous win for them. For all of those who said the president is going to pivot, he's going to pivot, and he never did. Can Democrats work with Mitch McConnell and President Trump if it means a massive political win for them as we go into 2020? Politicians get greedy.
Stephanie, we can certainly work with them on gun safety legislation. This is critical. This isn't about politics. This isn't a Democratic issue, a Republican issue. This is an issue of safety for the American people. This is an issue of safety for our children. I have 4 of them. Believe me, I am in fear that they are going to come across some mass shooting, that they are going to be affected by that. It is critical to parents across the nation that we get this passed.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.